Hello, everyone. Welcome to the stream. I need 2 more seconds. I hate that I have to do that, but there is a video that I need to shove into the right folder, and then we'll start. So I just need to do that. Okay, so howdy, everyone. Welcome in to the stream. So yeah, everyone is queuing up. We are good to roll. Just out of curiosity, I didn't forget to do that, did I? Please say I didn't. That would suck if I did. And I did. That's bollocks. Man, okay, I need to remember to finish up on YouTube. So the thing is every time I do a stream, I always have threw chat away accidentally. Every time I do a stream, YouTube, it like loads in a like section, which is fine, but it doesn't fill in everything like I would normally do if I was making it myself, which sucks. So like there's no tags for this and other things. So I'm not caring tonight. I'll have to remember to do that some other day. So anyways, but yeah, we're going to so hello everyone. I'm Eli. You can call me or I am TheologyMatters. You can call me Eli, and for my people in District 6, I am The Anomaly. So, we got an entertaining show tonight. I'm a little late. I apologize for that. I was on my work computer. So I got 2 computers. I got the gaming computer and I've got my work computer more or less. My work computer is where I do everything else other than the gaming or streaming. So I had to move there. And that was at about 9. And then I forgot I needed my flash drive to move the files over. So, bother there. So yeah, and then I forgot a file because OBS doesn't. I recorded a video briefly, and then yeah, whole shebang. Excuse me, but anyways, other than that, we're going to talk about Marsha Blackburn. That was the first thing I had to talk about tonight, mainly because of the fact that she is, well, we'll get into that, I guess. Other ways from that, I've got two other segments. We're going to do a raw impressions. There was a certain thing that my superintendent in Oklahoma did, and so I'm going to take a look at that. And then interpreting heresy, there was a article written at the beginning of the month on the second, and it was about the TLM. So we're gonna go through that as an Resorto guy, and I'm dry there. But yeah, so we're gonna get going. Excuse me. We're good on YouTube, right? For some reason, it wasn't showing. Should be. It's public. Okay, cool. I don't know why it was yellow. It looked at me weird. Excuse me. Sorry that Dr. Pepper lit me up. So anyways, we're going to get straight into it. So why is it every time I stream it's always Kick? Like I'm sorry, whoever is on Kick, the Gotti head wrap Guardy, I don't care. You're trying to get me banned using the terms of service. I'm not trying. Streaming to 0 is fine if I have to. But anyways, for all of you people on wherever you're at, if you get the follow, subscribe, everything else, a heart, a like, everything else in between, the typical YouTuber stuff, I'd very much appreciate that. And yeah, we'll go just straight into it. I think that's really all of it. Maintenance wise, we'll get into at the later end of the stream. And yeah, and I would ask, I have the later portions. I've got the superintendent, the educational thing with the superintendent and the TLM. If there is one that you would prefer, let me know and I can deal with that one first. Since I don't know how long it's going to take for me to talk about Blackburn, it's going to take a bit, but it won't be egregious, I would assume. So anyways, and I have to so before we begin, I do have a disclaimer, And that would be that I didn't finish one section of her look at, mainly because it was going to actually be larger and I had to prioritize my time after a while onto smaller things to get only one that I couldn't do. So apologize for that, but we'll go through it. It's at the later end. It's important. It's lawmaking, the section of lawmaking. So I need to get through that. Yeah, I don't know what it was about this week, but this week was a bit different. I'll say that. It felt a bit faster. So I think it's because I added the streams to my days now, and so I'm losing a couple of hours that I could work on this. But anyways, so we will begin. So I'm going to I accidentally forgot to give the intros over into the new computer, so I'm just going to Okay, welcome to the big original idea. So, we got a new takedown for Marsha Blackburn because I noticed that she was running for Tennessee's governor, which I went, really? And then, well, added it to my to-do list, and we're here tonight going to discuss Marsha Blackburn and why she may not be the best governor for Tennessee. So, and I know I'm an Oklahoman boy, but like, let's be fair. Some of these politicians, I gotta ask why some of these states, especially Tennessee, Tennessee's supposed to be red. You know, you're talking to the redder brother of the union, and I'll be honest, I think you guys could do better. So, but before that, real quick, I want to throw in what she posted. So she had a political ad. If you go to her website, there is an ad for you to watch her announcement. I have not watched this except for a brief time. So I don't know what's hidden here. I'm gonna be kind of walking in gosh, that is loud. I'm gonna be walking blank into this as well, so we're gonna see what's cracking. And I'm going to probably cry because it's going to be something. You know, it's already bad. I just want to say this. You know, it's already bad when the first image of her announcement video, Trump. Keep that in mind because I've added something to my the studio that you cannot see because I can't find a spot to put it in over here yet. But ironically, he is going to be really important. He is always important, I guess, for many of the campaigns. Hence why I started doing what I'm going to do. But you're going to have to wait until 4. Sorry, missed a finger. So, anyways, let's see what Marsha Blackburn. This is the announcement video. Remind you. So yeah, because it says right there. I can't read it because I have a lot of things in the way now. Better than ever, Marsha Blackburn for governor. So this is her first thing. So this has to be good. You know, like this is where she gets to talk about policy. This is where she gets to talk to you, the voters, the most important people that she needs to be talking to. And the closer is going to be a doozy. But anyways, cue it. Oh gosh, that's the first 5 seconds. I just want to point out also, there's a lot of women for Trump signs here. Red flag.
Trump is back, America is blessed, and Tennessee better than ever. I'm Marsha Blackburn. Here in the volunteer state, we always lead the way. And that's why I am announcing my candidacy for governor.
I love how her first sentence was just Trump won and is here. And then she's an afterthought in her own campaign. But this is why I say we'll get into it.
Tennessee is the greatest place in the world to rear a family.
That's a lie. It's Oklahoma.
Make a life and a living, and together we can make our great state even better. We'll make Tennessee America's #1 job-creating, energy-producing powerhouse. Deliver a world-class education for our children by empowering parents, not the deep state. And whether it takes planes, trains, or starships, we'll deport illegal aliens.
What? I remember this from last night, and I stopped. I saw the comments. Whether it takes planes, trains, or starships. What PR guru dude said, you know what would be a funny line? What? You can tell that we'll get into it.
We'll deport illegal aliens because respect for the law starts with enforcing it. This is Tennessee. We'll honor the Constitution, we'll value life, and we'll define our boys and girls the way God made them. I love Tennessee. I believe in Tennesseans.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
And I'm ready to deliver the kind of conservative leadership that will ensure our state is America's conservative leader for this generation and the next.
Remember that line? I want to ensure. Hold on, what was it?
Marsha Blackburn.
What was it again? Excuse me. Sorry, the Dr. Pepper and Coop are not interacting well. Our state is the America's conservative leader
for this generation and the next.
For this generation. Do you see that neck? Do you see how much makeup they had to plaster on this woman? We'll get into this, but like, that line's just so egregious in so many ways.
Next, I'm Marsha Blackburn. I'm running for governor, and I would be honored to have your support.
If that doesn't tell you, this end picture doesn't tell you what type of like campaign they're running, then you need to look at it. I'm young, I'm young. You would think that I wouldn't get this stuff, but like, that's so horrible. That's like, you have to throw in Trump so much. Anyways, we'll get into. So let's start with her. Let's start this takedown because I don't even think, like, here's the thing. I don't even think she's the problem. I don't think it's really her. I think it's her advisors. I don't know who in her PR, marketing, creation, campaign people were, but someone is a dumb nut and going, well, based on the numbers, but then you just have this dumbassery here. So anyways, Marsha Blackburn. Marsha Blackburn. Marsha Blackburn. Marsh. This is Marsha Blackburn. You just saw a video of her. She was born in 1952. Let me repeat that. She was born in 1952. She is currently 73 years old. For a 73-year-old, she looks good. I won't deny that. And not that way. This is better than, like a nursing home type look, but still. She's a Presbyterian, so she's a Protestant. She's been married for one guy from 1974, which means she got married when she was 22. Hold on, quick math. She got married when she was 22. She has 2 children, which is typical Protestant behavior there. And then she's got 4 grandchildren, which is also Protestant behavior there. No offense to the Protestants in the chat, but yeah, if you see a family of like 4+ kids, it's highly suspecting it's either a Lutheran, Catholic, or Orthodox family. There isn't a Protestant. Some Protestants will not have, more children. They'll have 2 and they'll be it. She's been in politics. Okay, this is where I was like, holy crap. She's been in politics for a while. 1999. I was born in 2001, mind you, and so just for reference, 1999 to 2003, she was in the Tennessee State Senate. Okay, that's fine. She was in 2003. She was in the Tennessee State Senate. 2003 to 2019, she was a U.S. Wrong line. She was a U.S. House representative. So she was all the way in Washington for 16 plus years. And then she's been there since still, because from 2019 till now, she's been a U.S. Senator. Now she's not being a senator. She's coming home after 27 years in the federal government, which that's 3 decades in government. Mind you, she was born in 52. So so that's at least a preliminary, like, who she is. We'll get into that because I do have a section to discuss this because that is just diabolical. So how do you be a Tennessee governor? Well, it's actually very simple. You just need to be at least 30 years old, a citizen of the United States of America, and a citizen of Tennessee for 7 or more years. Which means if anyone complains, if she wins, which I highly suspect she will because of the fact that the marketing team that she's got with her, a certain demographic's going to vote her in. She probably is going, like, there isn't going to be a competitor that's going to be worthy enough. I think the one guy I looked at, I was like, oh, he seems good. I think he pulled out. And like, who is she facing? Well, she's facing John Rose. So Republicans, at least for right now, she's facing John Rose, Cito Pellegrina, and Monty Fritz, who I saw something about chemtrails. He was talking about chemtrails at one point, and I was thinking like, oh, that's the guy. That's the radical. But I think he's out. He's going to stay in the state Senate. So good on him, but also balls. Tennessee needs him, but I would say probably higher. At least for the preliminary, like, I looked at him for like 3 minutes, and he was totally more better than she. There's something wrong with this. Because I gotta be fair, I've been doing this multiple times over, talking about people. So I've got some consistency growing in certain aspects, and she broke a lot of them. So anyways, let's go into my like biggest and greatest point that I think is more important is that she's 73. She's old. Like, for crying out loud, she's older than my parents. For crying out loud, she was in government more than I was alive. Hell, I wasn't even a sperm. Like, I was an egg. And that's it. That's how long she's been in government. For crying out loud, that's just federal. That's just federal. I'm 24. She's been in office more than I have even existed. You know how sad that is? Okay. So she'll be 74 when she is elected governor. She's 74. If she was in the public sector, if you were working and you said, oh, I'm 74, you either think she's on hard times, she fell on hard times, or for some reason she's not retiring because reasons. In the public sector, she would be retiring. I looked up the age of what, like, probably she would be retiring. It's like 65 for her. She's 10 years almost. She's a decade extending her work stuff. Mind you, the Tennessee governor is like 4 more years, so she's going to go to 78, and more than likely, she's not going to stop. She's going to go on. So what would she be? 82. So anyways, because, like, only in the government sector, it really is, only in the government sector are you going to have these old timers who literally can't do anything else other than the politics because they're just that old now. And that they can't really leave because I don't even know what they're doing. She's probably got a net worth higher than most people. She gets about, like, I think, what, $200,000 for being a senator. So I don't know where all that money's going. And of course she's a woman too. So what's her man doing is another question. She only had 2 kids. It wasn't like she had an army that she had to fundraise. She had 2. And what's ironic is she's a baby boomer. You would think that she would have came from a big family and wanted one too. Instead, she's not. So and honestly, this is the boomer mentality. This is why, like, part of this is just she is literally a boomer, though. She is a actual boomer, and this is why I don't think she wants to retire, is because she didn't give a crap about her family for a couple of decades, and that's why she can't enjoy her retirement, because her kids are gone and away from her, because a lot of boomers treat their kids like guardians, and that's it. The mentality of like, oh, once you're 18, you're out of my house, which is always funny. Um, which is always funny because it's like, no, no, like that's how you lose a relationship, is by treating it nothing more than a transaction of, well, I had sex and I produced a kid, and so now I'm responsible for him for 18 years. But after that, go F yourself. That mentality is only in boomers. Gen Xers a little bit. The millennials are kind of iffy. Gen Z, yeah, we're not. We have rejected a lot of boomerisms. Unless you are a boomer, in which case then you kind of get into some problems. Because as I was talking with like Majorian and the like, or what was it? It was Joe and Majorian. It's like the boomerism is not a age, it's a state of mind. That's why the boomer mentality sucks balls. Because like, she's 73, getting into 74. Are you saying you cannot retire and go enjoy the rest of your life? Which, she's a woman, she's probably going to get at least 15-ish plus years. What is it? An average woman dies at probably 92, so she's going to get maybe 2 decades to live with her, to watch her grandkids, to be with her children. Instead, she'd rather be in, checks notes, public office for more years because no one else can do the job. So, yeah. Anyways, but what I love is, so in the announcement video, you know what she said, though? She was like, we need to prepare Tennessee for this generation and the next. Woman, you are not even this generation. For crying out loud, you're not even the old guard. You're the old guard's old guard. Like, that's how old and ancient you are. You're 3 times my age, woman. Like, I'm sorry, does no one think that is just, like, no one tell her, you're kind of old. Like, it's just a fact. She's 74. She's got 5 decades on me, and literally 5 decades. Exactly. She doesn't know. She probably has no idea about this life, right? Like, you deal with people, like, if you deal with old folks with, like, technology, it's always funny. The memes of, like, it's like, I fixed my parents' TV. All I did was switch the HDMI channel. It's like, that is essentially boomerisms. Oh, gosh. But it's like, you're not even the old guard. You're the very old guard. Like, you would be mistaken for being dead. That's how old you are. That's how much of a relic you are of a bygone age. And like, here's the thing. I'm not going to say that there couldn't be a 74-year-old who got into politics when he was, 30 something, and now he's 4 decades into it and he wants to keep going. I could probably allow it. I'd probably be more accepting of him if he was doing that, because, well, one, he'd be a dude, which is another different point that I'll mention later. But, there's one thing about, oh, well, I've been in government for forever because that's my life and that's what I've been doing since the beginning because service was exactly what I wanted to do. And that I don't get that vibe off her, because even like, I gave flack for Vivek for entering at 40, the same as Mace, who entered at like, I think like 47 or something. No, she's not 47, 42. I don't know what it is about these like 40-year-olds who are like, you know what I should do? I should run for office. Like, where was this concern 2 decades ago? Like, I'm legitimately asking a serious question. Like, where was this care 2 decades ago? Ah, that's right. Nowhere. Gosh. Freaking boomers. And like, legitimately, she's a boomer. She's a 52. She was born in 52. Yeah, she's a boomer. I had to look up the gens. She's a boomer, literally. So not only does she have a boomer mentality, she is one. Hence why I believe she has the boomer mentality. She's got to, pick her up by the bootstraps and work, I'm crashing out. And I'm slightly crashing out, which is usually how I do these anyways. But, like, I need a... Okay, anyways. So, again, I don't see the point of her working at 74 years old in governor for 4 more years. Like, you know how much flack we gave for Biden? Hold on. Gotta look at the age. Hold on. Joe Biden age. Joe Biden's 82. Alrighty. So let's see. Joe Biden only did 4 years, which means he was 78. You know how much flack we gave to Biden? For crying out... Hold on. What's Trump? Hold on. Gotta look at Trump. Hold on. Trump age. We gotta be fair. Okay, he's 79. So what was he? 2016. So about 9 years. So he's about 70. I still would have given flack to Trump too. That would not have been like... I think Trump's old too. That's why we're seeing some of these issues. I also think there's a lot of... We'll get into it. That's the next point. So, and I can show you my friend. My friend's gonna join us for like 20 seconds. But anyways, so we have Blackbird. She's old. She's, she should have been retired by now. She needs to go off into the sunset, and not to die. I mean, like, sunset is in, like, fly to Florida, be with your kids, your grandkids, whomever, be a family. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that sounds lovely. I would love to do that when I'm 74 and I've got arthritis in both feet, and, I have menopause going off or whatever. What do 74-year-old women have? No, just arguing. Like, for crying out loud, she's the age of my grandparents. Like, that's how old... Like, she's older than my grandparents, actually. Or actually, no, she's younger than my grandparents, but just barely. So again, she's old. She's got that boomer mindset where she can't stop working, because if she stopped working, she'd probably, like, have a heart attack or something. And I'm not saying that, like, she'd have a heart attack. Like, I'm not wishing death upon her. I'm saying she'd have a heart attack because she wouldn't know what to do with her life without politics, because, well, she had her family, but then she's kind of like, okay, that's nice. And then she, like, reinvented herself to do politics. So, but, the other thing that's just weird is because I made flack for Vivek because he entered at, like, 40 something, right? And I get flack for Mace. I give flack for Getner Drummond. Who else have I done this for? I've done a lot of takedowns. I gotta look at my thumbnails. Hold on. What have I done? Gomez was another I did. I did Getner Drummond. Then I started doing lives. Hold on, let me go there. I did it. I talked about Mace, Vivek. Yeah. It's strange to me that, like, a consistency of, like, these 40-year-olds enter office after it's like, well, why didn't you care before? Oh, well, the chaos was going on, but, that ain't my job. And it's like, she did the same thing. It's just not recent, but about 3 decades ago, she entered politics. She was working for the Tennessee's Film, Entertainment, and Music Commission. That was her first thing. So she was working for the state government a bit. And then at 47, she decided to run for the Tennessee Senate. And she was there for a few years. Hold on, where was it? I had it. So she was there for 4 years, which was only 2 terms. She was only there for 2 years. I think there was something about, like, redistricting happened in 2000, so she didn't do it again, or something of that ilk, which I think is weird, because 2000 means that 06. No, because the census happens at 2000, so the 2000 election would have... Oh, wait, Tennessee's got a weird law where it's like you have to do it 2 consecutive midterm type deals. So, I thought when I remembered my statewide that I did earlier, so that may be why. But her district changed, and so that was why she decided, you know what I'm gonna do? At the age of 51, I'm gonna run for Tennessee's representative. And like, she was there for 27 years, which again, longer than I've been alive. Her political career has been longer than I've been alive. 3 more years, for crying out loud. Good grief. Like, it's gonna take me a bit. Like, I'm gonna be taking time. Like, it's still gonna take me like 3 years to even get near her like tenure. Good grief. I don't see how hold on, what was the first one? Because she was doing it for about 16 years. So that's about 8 terms. I don't see how in 8 terms she didn't get knocked out. Like, we're going to take a look. I think it's number 5. We're going to take a look at, what she's done. And I've got to say, it better be stellar, because there's no way that she was doing 16 years and Tennessee just let her. Now, most of that, though, was before 2016. And most people didn't give a boot lick until 2016. And that's been a lot of people. That's why Gen Z, because I was a Gen Zer, I didn't get noticed into politics until I was in 2016. And mainly because of the fact that I was like 15 and a half when I should, because I'm 2 years or so from voting. I should know about politics. And then, of course, she's got, she was recently elected senator. She's not doing that again. So she's only done one senator ship. But it's fishy to really to say, like, I care about Tennessee, and that's why I went away for about 3 decades fighting for your interests in Washington, D.C., because I love you that much. There'd be one thing. I made topics about this. Like, there'd be one thing if she was like 47 and she was in Tennessee's Senate for a while and she stayed there. But like, she was there for 4 years, and then she gave a bullcrap excuse about redistricting, which is just a new challenge. Welcome to that. She gives like a crappy excuse, and then she's like, I'm gonna promote myself," which honestly is a bit on Tennessee. But that was 2001, so she probably just had to say, "Get the Muslims," and that was how she got elected. Good grief. But yeah, it's just, I don't see how you leave your state for over 3 decades, and then and then you only represented it for about 4. Like, it's just fishy, Like, there'd be one thing about myself because if I run for office and I win and I go on to like an 8-year track, and then I decide I'm going to run for senator instead of re-election because I only have 4 more years left here in Oklahoma. I rather finish off in one election and we're done. I don't have to do another one. There's one thing about that. There's one thing about I do 10 years and then I decide, you know what, I'm going to run for governor because that's what's up right now. There's one thing about like finishing enough time, but like, she just had 2 years. She did 2 terms, 2 terms and 4 years. And then she ran away. I'm like, that's fishy. Like, like, isn't that, like, wouldn't you say that's fishy? No? Yeah, it's just baffles my brain somewhat that Tennessee let her stay there for that long. And Tennessee's supposed to be a red state. I'm like, she better, like I said, she better have a freaking great stellar record when I go into lawmaking, because I'm gonna find probably nothing. That's what I suspect. I thought Mace talks a lot of smack. I thought she was gonna have something. In reality, she didn't. She had, what was it, a post office that she changed the name of. Ooh, such a powerful woman. She can change the name of mailboxes. Ooh, like, I'm so afraid. I'm so insecure. Gosh. Anyways, so I think I'll do me for the old timing her and mocking her for her age, because honestly, I don't think she heard me anyway. So Yeah, but anyways, I just find it fishy that, like, after, like, 5 decades, she's like, "You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna run for office after having my family," and, you know, it just is ironic. So, next point I wanna mention, which every guy I've been doing this for, I literally have to keep taking from the same template. Like Mace, I started off with Vivek, and I started Blackburn because of Mace's stuff. Some of these points, like the how to be whatever, the who they're facing, and then this point, have all stayed because of the fact that they all are doing it. And excuse me. And I don't know who in their marketing department is telling them this is the right move, because you're losing a lot of younger people. But honestly, in the closer, I think that's the thing, though, is that you're losing all the young people, and that's going to be in the closer. So preview. But the thing I like is she mentioned Trump, right? Like let's let me just show that again. Why don't we? Let's go back, shall we? Let's go back to this wonderful video she did. I have to bring it up again. Nope, wrong one. There we are. You know how sad it is that you have to put Trump in the first like 3 seconds of your ad? Are you telling me that hello British Margaret Thatcher? What? Okay. Where That's a weird comment. I will say that. So anyways, excuse me. So, where was I? Oh yeah, the video. So it's ironic that we have Trump. He's here, he's in the front, he's it's ironic. She doesn't want to show herself. She's showing Trump and Trump being celebrated. I'm gonna mute that. It goes on for 6 seconds until you see her. You think this is a Trump video. And then cut to her riding his coattails. And it's just that behavior. It's the boomer mentality. Because hold on, do I say this joke now? I'm holding a joke. No, I have to wait until 7 bra moments. Sorry. I'm holding on a joke. So anyway, she's holding on to this. I don't know how to put it. She's holding on to this Trump persona, because like she's got to hold on to the MAGA movement, because the MAGA movement is like, oh well, we see Trump, and this is sad to me that like the Trump voters and MAGA are not going to see the like evil take that they have of you, because this is what they think of you, is that you're so idiotic that you can't see the marketing that they're doing, which is primarily which is primarily sad, because they basically think you're an idiot. A lot of MAGA, the higher ups in MAGA, basically MAGAites, MAGA people are idiots, because they're like, well, you see Trump, so you're going to vote for me because you love Trump that much, which I'll tell you, that movement is going to slowly die. It's being split up right now. It's being split up into what I am, which is the very conservative, or the populist stance. And the populist stance is going to get overrun by the fact that it's no different than Trump. It's no different than some of the Democrats. So, but anyways, it's funny because we saw this. She brings herself up. She kind of briefly wants to talk some stuff. She talks about job. Oh, good things. What was here? I thought relatively here.
Will deport illegal aliens.
Oh yeah, and then this dumb the dumb sentence. But oh look, Trump. Oh look, Trump. We got a severe. What was the line with Trump? Hold on.
Cause respect for the law starts.
There is more Trump than her. Like that's almost this entire like. There is. This could have been an ad for Trump. Like, for crying out loud, even in this picture, it's a Trump billboard. It's the Trump photo. Gosh, that's just awful.
With enforcing it. This is
So, anyways, honor Constitution. What was the other one? Oh, yeah. This is always fun. That'll be for later. That's a bro moment. You see, this is a Trump photo again, and what I think is funny is that no one who runs their campaigns actually thinks like, maybe we shouldn't be putting Trump in everything we do because we need to show off the candidate. And mind you, it's what, October. We're about 6 months from at least for myself, I got 6 months until I actually file. So it's like everyone's got to be thinking of stuff right now, all that jazz. So, anyways, but the worst part was, what was the worst part?
and I would be honored to have your support.
That this, it's just sad. It's sad that she has to literally like share a platform with Trump because she can't have one herself. How sad. You know how bad that is, that you have to like sell yourself by being, Trump light. You have nothing to say of your own career. She's been in government for decades and she didn't talk about that. She just talked about like, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, we're going to do that. Like, that's okay, but like, can we have more specifics than like, we're going to talk about energy and, other things, which fun with that. Anyways, where are we? Right. Pro Trump. So, I hate this, like, I call it cucked behavior. It's very cucked behavior. Because like we saw it with Vivek. Vivek had to be all like, oh, Trump is my great master, and then Mace is basically the same. And it's so funny because Charles McCall, he's a Oklahoma governor candidate, and I'll be taking him on in a takedown in a couple of weeks. He has an ad playing during Wheel of Fortune, which is the most stereotypical, funniest stuff imaginable. And it's not even from him. It's not even him. It's a pact, which I hate. Which is where the closer is going to be going. But it's so funny because he has to mention Trump, because if he doesn't, he has nothing of himself to be worthy of. So, anyways, so with that, I'm seeing chat go, but before that, let me finish this segment. So I've introduced. So if everyone wants to welcome to the stage a new friend, that because of the fact that I keep doing so many takedown videos, I've decided to finally make a section for all these pro-Trump people. So when elections show up, I can do something with this. So anyways, everyone, meet the bowl of Trump's cucks. So what we have in here is what we have right here. Vivek, Nancy Mace, and Gettner Drummond all did something. And welcome to the field, Marsha Blackburn. She has been now cucked. So anyways. Ironic. Yes, ironic. So, congrats. She has been labeled as Trump's cucked. A moment of silence for her. No, we're not. No, because she doesn't deserve one. Okay, so before I move on to the rest of her pro-Trump kind of stance, I'm going to move on to look at the chat briefly. Trump is genuine evil. I did debatable on that. British Margaret Thatcher. Debatable. Like, I don't particularly like him anymore, even though I voted for him twice, technically 3 times if I could. I was 14 at the time, so I couldn't do it in 2016. So it doesn't. You were at SpongeBob being better than Trump. Well, he's just as much of a joke in my eyes. What do I think of Trump? So Linda in DeWipda. What do you think of Trump's Epstein Yahoo? We're gonna get someone ish on talking about Epstein briefly, but yeah. It's sus. It's getting more sus. Like, I know there's supposedly some fake. I'm mainly quotes because I can't. I'm not so versed in it, but it is interesting that he has he's calling it a hoax, even though there are people who say we were abused, and he's saying it's a hoax. It's very synonymous to that's actually a really great response. I maybe need to write a tweet about that. It's ironic because Trump is now covering fire for supposed rapists or pedophiles. And what's ironic is that a lot of Protestants will support Trump, but the Catholic Church they will attack because of the sex scandal. That's an interesting thought. That's an interesting tweet. I need to write that. But yeah, aside from my intense homosexuality, I'm a conservative myself. Interesting, British Margaret Thatcher. That's interesting. I don't know if personally, I don't know if I would classify you as a conservative because of that, because I feel like that is one of those, like, to be a conservative, you wouldn't. I'd label as you an independent though, but I wouldn't think much of that. Wait a minute. British Margaret Thatcher, just out of curiosity, you a woman or a man? Because I assume woman. Okay, that's an interesting, because that would be interesting. I'll tell you that. That's a so because I'm envisioning a gay man, but if you're a lesbian, then that makes more sense. The earlier message. But do you think the rapture will happen? No, because it didn't. I did go to confession though, just as a case. It was a lie, but I needed to go anyways. Rooting for you, thank you for that. Yuga cards, I love those. Thank you. Magic is also on the left side, as well. So love the Zelda poster. Me too. Habit of the Twilight Princess. Played it on the GameCube with my bro. Can't do wrong. Yeah. Okay. Marsha Blackburn can't do any wrong in my eyes. She reminds me a lot of my own grandmother. I miss her dearly. Interesting. Interesting outlook. Really bloody meat. Maybe my mind's just a bit. Maybe I'm the weirdo, but that's an interesting. I hope meat is not a euphemism. I'll just say that. But yeah, we'll take a look to see if you're true. Okay, Thatcher, you are a girl. Okay, that makes more sense. That's an interesting. A lesbian that's a conservative. That's an interesting. I'll tell you that. That's a bit interesting. I won't deny that. I don't think there's not that many of you, I would think. Mainly because like on traditional like genders, men are typically more conservative and women aren't. And then you're also in the L camp. So I would have put you on the other side, but that's interesting. Graham, really tough. Okay. Really bloody me. She's. I don't know what. Okay, my mind's thinking beyond what I need to probably. So, anyways, but that's chat. Interesting. That's interesting, Thatcher. No, that's fine. Really bloody me. I'm just I'm adding I think euphemisms to things that aren't euphemisms. You are coming from Twitch though, so it's not exactly too like it's not out of whack for Twitch people to be a little not salty, risque, I should say. But interesting, Thatcher. That's an interesting thing to say. Born Christians to believe fell in love with a girl. That's where I'd say like there's a whole thing. I think I've talked about it briefly over. It's like I think I was talking with Davide. Maybe was I talking about Davide? No, I was talking to Have. I was talking to Have about like the homosexuality and the chastity. Like I obviously disagree with that type of lifestyle. Not to throw too much shade in that, but you know, It's like I understand like the same-sex attraction, but I don't particularly think you should be enacting on it. But that's just and like that's mostly what the church teaches too. But yeah, but glad you're here nonetheless. Okay, I'm moving from chat back into formation. So the other unfortunate behavior. Oh wait, I was supposed to show this first. I'm missing stuff tonight. I need to take this. I need to format this real quick. Okay. Where is my media? Thank you. Okay, so we need to share my screen. So there was another picture I was supposed to share. So because this is on our campaign website. You know, again, this is sad because you know full well that this is her campaign, but she literally has to use him in order to boost herself up. And then there's like a quote that he said about her. I don't know when that was said though. They don't say that. So for all I know, he may not even know that he's been credited as saying something, even though it's probably somewhere. Um let's see what else. Oh, okay. Yeah, we finished. So anyways, yeah, and then I presented the new bowl that's over to my right. So other from that, we have a bit that she is a Zionist. She does believe she is a Protestant, and the thing about being Protestant is dependent on which branch or dependent on how it's not really branch, I would say, because the evangelicals disagree, but there's this weird notion, especially in Protestant circles. And I say Protestant circles because Catholics, we don't believe in Zionism. And any Catholic that is a Zionist, you got to look at them with a face of what? But yeah, so she believes Israel, we should bless Israel. She's probably in that type of camp as a Protestant. They're our greatest ally, even though like we fund them practically for everything. Yeah, our greatest ally. It's a symbiotic relationship. We're Eddie Brock and they're Venom. Like that's how it is. Um but anyways, but it's also a problem that I'd say because like she is getting kind of a lot of money from APAC and half a million or actually $0.6 million devoted to APAC is just wild to me. Um that's a lot of cash for a campaign, but you know, it doesn't surprise me because if you believe that the next thing, let me see, what else do I have? Oh yeah, the Israel first. Like, yeah, she wants to talk big smack, but she's not. But it's funny because this next thing that I'm gonna show, which is just names. No. Right. Funny thing here, she says every $4 we spend should be in the interests of the American people. No tax dollars should fund a foreign nation. That's where she should have ended it. That actively votes against American interests. She should have just ended it right here. No tax dollars should fund a foreign nation. Yeah, we shouldn't be spending our taxes everywhere under the sun. Like, I get a little aid, but like, we are not funding Israel with like 5,000 wars. Like, it's Israel. They're stuck in the middle of, Muslim country. No dip, they were not going to be welcomed. It's the Muslims' stronghold. Of course, the Jews were going to be looked down upon. And then again, we also have the fact that the Christians there, the Jews don't like either. So, way to go, Protestants, selling out your own brothers and sisters halfway across the world. But what's interesting is we have this list. Now, the reason why I want to show this list is because if we talk about Zionism, there is a supposed connection to Zionists and this. Now, when the day Charlie Kirk was taken out, or was assassinated. Sorry, let me rephrase. When he was assassinated, when Charlie Kirk was assassinated, there was a vote in the Senate, which I found out, and I was really sad because Lankford is up here in Oklahoma, and who am I missing? Mullins. Mullins is right here. So both of my senators in Oklahoma are guilty as well, which sucks because, well, one, I didn't like him anyways. I voted against Lankford's challenger, and Mullen I didn't want in either, but Oklahoman boomers are stuck individuals with some limited brain power to think, more. Like, no offense to the boomers, but like, just because he has a name, because Mullen had a plumbing business, and then Langford has this like, oh, nice teacher attitude, even though he votes for complete crap. This will probably make you go like, I'm not going to defend him, mainly because this thing was to motion to table the releasing the Epstein list. All of these senators, guess who's on here? Marsha Blackburn, right there. Marsha Blackburn decided to hide away the list of the Epstein's frick, what was it? Wow, I'm saying shoppers, but that's a gross euphemism. Um, fudge. I don't even know. Gosh, why am I blanking on the term? Customers. Yeah, we'll just say customers. We'll move on. Gosh, what is it? The people on the Epstein list, right? Like we're trying to look at for the people on the Epstein list, right? And the funny thing about the Epstein list is that they table it, but it's like so many Republicans want it released, and yet Blackburn stood in your way. So do you really think Blackburn is your best hope and chance for this? Highly suspect not anymore. Like, that's a horrible mark to have on her, especially as a Christian, where she's basically saying, oh yeah, you were abused, but the most loving act that I can do instead of justice is thousands more dollars to Israel. Like, I gave her flack because of her age, and that's kind of a bit of a thing too. The boomers are really on that Israel juice, or kosher juice, and then the Protestantism just makes it worse. And then of course the Trump. So anyways, but yeah, but I like everyone wants the list released. Like, we don't care if Trump is on it because Trump supposedly might have been on it. I know there was that thing, was it the Wall Street Journal, where he supposedly drew some boobs or something on a birthday card or something of that ilk, and he signed it. Like, I looked at the signature; it looked fairly real. But I'm not going to. I didn't look at it too hard, but that list needs to be released. It's not a hoax. If you have it, release it. Because that was something you campaigned on, and so if you were lying to me, then what else are you lying to me about on the campaign? Like, this is why I say transparency is something that we need. And if he's not providing it, then there might be a reason why. And that reason, I feel like he needs to add a better reason than, well, it's just a hoax. This ain't Russiagate, bro. Like, this is legitimate things happen. That isn't, well, the Russians were doing this or that, supposedly to help you, This is legitimate. People got hurt. So, anyways. But yeah, that's just awful though there. So yeah, so we're getting into you know what? I'm gonna wait for lawmaking because I gotta open a website for that briefly. So I'm actually gonna move on to 6 and we'll come back to 7. And then 7 and we'll move back to 5. So because 5 I accidentally forgot to do briefly, so that's on me. Because I need to look at sponsored bills. I want to look at how effective of a lawmaker she is, because that's one thing that I'm going to be prioritizing of myself when I'm in my campaign. That's why I'm making like a 10-year plan. So that way I at least, like, I'm saying, like, in the first year, I want to get this, and this done. And mind you, it'll be like a few bills because, I'm going to have problems getting those in and other things because some of my Republican brethren are Democrats or just inept down south. Anyways, but transgenderism, she took the typical Republican stance, which is kind of sad. Because she just took the like, oh well, transgenderism bad, and so she has this CARES Act, or the Chloe Cole Act, to stop the dangers. And so she wants to stop the mutilation of children, which is awesome. I agree. But why aren't we just stopping them, period? Because a man is a man and a woman is a woman. Like, I'm very aware I'm a man because I can stand up, or I can pee while standing. Why? Because of a certain piece of myself that is unique to my sex. Why is it children? Why is it always children? Why does it have to be the children? And to me, that's just a weak stance for her to have, especially as supposedly this like strong ass conservative woman, which is kind of rough on that. Did I skip that or did I? Oh no, it's in bro moments. Okay. And it's just sad because I would expect her to be a little bit more gun ho on it, but instead she's kind of limp wristed. Furthermore, from that, same-sex marriage, she opposed. She voted for the laws in Tennessee in 2004 and 2006. That was during the time where practically every state was voting on it. If you went into the how gay is it how gay? Yeah, how gay is America? I did a stream maybe a month ago, and I basically go through what would happen if Oberthel was overturned. And so I'm looking at like who has laws passed and who has laws passed and whose laws would activate, allowing it still, whose would take it on, who would probably have the feeling that they would get rid of it, even though they don't have anything on the books, that type of mentality. Abortion, I think she was against. I didn't look too much into it. But I do have to say she does have a few brow moments. So her campaign site is very funny because she wants to talk a lot about she's she's a Republican, but she is a boomer with this because this is from her this is just her senator site, but it says Marsha Blackburn is the senior senator for Tennessee and the first woman to represent the volunteer state in the United States Senate. You know how sad that is that you're I don't know who wrote this for her, but it's kind of sad that she has to write that, oh, I'm the first woman. That's what Democrats all talk about because what's ironic is she writes that, oh, I'm the first woman, but it's like, aren't you just a state rep though? Like, shouldn't we not care about each other's genders in a way? So it's just funny there. She does it again in her campaign for governor. So it's just ironic that she wants to be like, she's literally a boomer. She's a feminist. She probably says like happy wife, happy life, which is always funny to me because it's just awful. And then the other thing that I want to say is another video. Oh wait, that's why it's not doing. So we got another video. I didn't title this anything. I wrote what joke I meant to write, but that's it. Oops, I gotta get into it. Sorry, I missed it. Okay, so we're gonna look at this ad because this is rough.
Can you provide?
Okay, so it's on. Okay, so this is like some of her claim to fame type stuff, and so I'm gonna let the video go for a little bit, and then I'll stop it.
Can you provide a definition for the word woman?
Can I provide a definition? No,
Yeah,
I can't.
you can't?
Not in
Okay.
this context.
So you
I'm not a
believe the meaning
biologist.
of the word woman is so unclear and controversial that you can't give me a definition?
Senator, in my work as a judge, what I do is
Okay, I'm gonna skip past this because she's gonna give it a reason, and then
About something as fundamental as what a woman is underscores the dangers of the kind of progressive education.
So I'm gonna leave it there because I don't want to listen to it again. What I think is ironic is that so if you were a boomer, you probably had your first erection in months, because that's the type of I don't know what it is about these sound bites that all these senators have to produce, but it's like she asked the question specifically so it can be released on the campaign, so she can bring it up, so she can get people to view her, and it's like I don't even think she asked that question with honesty. She just asked it just to be funky, but then it's like it's the same boomer stuff. The boomers who are all like, oh, well, you took on the left. Oh, 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 like most conservative Gen Z guys were like beyond this by now. That's why like there was an entire uproar. Like after Kirk was assassinated, it was funny to watch kind of the left to figure out that there was a writer version of Kirk after being called all the names, because all of us were looking at each other like it was kind of that like side eye, the monkey puppet side eye of like Charlie Kirk was a radical conservative, and then we all like look at each other because it's like, no, we think of our worst stuff. Uh it was actually really funny to watch that kind of unfold, because like I will say that was the first thing I thought of. I was like, honestly, I wouldn't have, like, if Kirk was taken out, assassinated, I gotta say I'm somewhat surprised because Kirk didn't exactly have the most conservative policies. Like he had conservative policies, but he just didn't have the most conservative policies. Like if you were gonna take him out, yeah, a lot of me and a lot of Gen Zers, you should probably be taken on more than a millennial that was a Zionist. So, anyways, so before I get into the lawmaking, I saw chat was rolling on. Glad to see Twitch is here tonight. A lot of you are on Twitch, it appears, tonight. So, before that, real quick, I need to pop open her thing, and then I'll take a look at chat for 20 seconds. Do you think Marsha Blackburn would say "I love you" and mean it to me? My never actually said it if she passed on. Okay, that's it. Okay. Okay. What is your perspective on abortions? So yes. So my perspective on abortions for British Margaret Thatcher, it would be inconsistency with the church. Abortions are wrong in all manners. Even in the exceptions, because rape doesn't dilute the conception, just as incest does. Incest is practically, it's either consensual or it's rape, so then rape's arguments apply. And if it's consensual, then it's just kind of, I think it's like genealogical problems, but incest is also bad too. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that it wouldn't be allowed even then. And the life of the mother usually is diluted because, or is there is ways to do it without like the what was it, the senator that one time, not senator, the ads were like the "I'm your Republican congressman. I won the last election." Like, yeah, those that would be not happening where the doctor was on the phone like she needs abortion or she's gonna die. Yeah, that's not how it works. Um, but I would I would disagree with abortions. I don't think we should be having them. I don't think anyone should. There's a lot of ways to prevent abortion because there's the prior step of conception, which requires sex. So there is, you just don't have sex. You don't have to worry about abortions. You don't have to worry about STDs or anything of that ilk. Mainly because of the fact that you ain't indulging in anything. Um, I am sad to hear that your cousin got one though. You know, I don't know what was going on, but I would wish that she didn't. But I'm semi late, but I would hope that she would come to see that it was a life that she had. And I'm kind of sad it's separated our family. Um, I don't know what Democrat, like I don't, or not Democrat, but like I don't know where the lines are being drawn necessarily, but I can see why it would. Like uh, as a pro life guy, I can see why some people get a little um upset with it. I don't think it's unadvised that they're not caring. The Jews shared the truth on how make a okay. Yikes. Client list. Thank you for that. Thank you, Linda. Um Diddy blood. Okay, this one's actually kind of funny. Um so anyways, you're not a Christian if you want that list hidden. Yeah. Uh, okay, that's interesting. Starting to think Trump has been lying to us all along. Yeah, honestly. I didn't want to vote for him. I didn't like anyone in the Republican primary, but I had no choice. I'm not 35, so I couldn't take him on. Um Oh yeah. 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 This is rough. Yeah. Like honestly, there is no such, like, to be fair, Linda, there is no such, in my opinion, there is no such thing as trans kids because transgenderism is false. So, um, you know, it's not really caring about trans kids. It's just caring about transgenderism, getting that out. Uh Bernie. Okay, I assume Bernie means Bernie Sanders has said the N word behind doors. It wouldn't surprise me. The Democratic Party is, the party of the slavery people, so it wouldn't be surprising if they're still using the slurs. Has he said it? I have no idea, mainly because I have not heard that before. But that honestly, Bernie would get kind of funnier if he was saying that. I want not to throw that in. But thank you for the compliments about the knowledgeable. Fuentes is our strongest person. Yes, indeed. He seems like a good guy. The only problem that I have maybe with him a bit is that, like, sometimes he's a bit over. He's too jokingly, and he needs a little. I think it depends. Like when he was giving the eulogy kind of for Kirk, you saw the serious side of him, but it's like I think it's hard to figure out. Like a lot of people want to be like when he's making jokes, that's when everyone's like, "Oh, well, he said something offensive." It's like it was a joke. Like that's the point. Um and that blank sucks blank because Fuentes blank is a um okay. I don't know what those dots were, but I assume Kick Auto did those. So, no idea. There's a lot of letters. That's like 6. So I have no idea what this is. Do you use the N word? Uh, no. No. Only as a joke, and even then it's rare. Like very rare. And even if I would, which is so rare. Um even if I do, I half jokingly will say it. It's more like the Seahawks one. Um it would be more like I'd probably say the first 3 letters so everyone knows. That's the most I would do. So no, I don't use the N word. Kirk was killed by one of his own. Um okay, really bloody meat. Are these real or are you joshing me? Because if you're trolling me, then fine. But if you're real, then I gotta I'm gonna do the dog thing of like, Um, I don't know. Nick seems pretty good. He's a Catholic guy. He seems like he knows some stuff. I think disagree with him on here or there about some things. I know that there was something that Majorian and Crusade were talking about the other day about like running for office and sending Gen Z there, which I disagree on. Um, Mainly by that, I want them in office. I have not seen that video mainly because I'm never gonna go see that video. Okay, British Martyr Factor a little bit uh more than I would like in my chat. Just wanting to offer that. Um, that that's a weird new what he was okay. Yeah, the last one was a bit more. um little lower if you would. Or censorship please because that's a bit uh weird. Just as I ask if you could. You just reminded me that I need to censor some other words, I guess. Because a little bit too descriptive for my tastes. Just and for others, I like to keep it somewhat PG-13, and you're kind of sending it to not safe for work. Yeah, you're good. It's just you're getting into an area where I'm a little like it's fine today because you didn't know. So, but it's just um a little bit like the stroke game. There was one where there was the stroke was kind of like whoa, and then you kind of doubled down on it in the next one. So that one was rough. Okay, one more. I am serious. I'm sorry if you think I'm trolling. Okay, thank you. Thank you for saying that. Um, okay, that's okay. Okay, I didn't know if you were. So yeah, because I'm somewhat reading it. I'm semi confused slash like okay, what does this mean? So, anyways, okay. Anyways, moving on to lawmaking. So, can I get rid of this? Yes, I can. So we have Blackburn. Do I have anything more for this? Boomer marketing, which is the closer. So we will leave that there. So we are going to look at Blackburn's very quickly, semi quickly. Like this is probably where I needed to spend time. That's why I had to wait until long time way later because I need to go through this and validate what I'm seeing because she's been in government for a while. So I need to look at her what she's done, what she's sponsored because those are going to be extremely important for me to gauge on what type of senator she is because there I can get her for some technicalities of that she's a feminist, that she's a Zionist, that she's too pro-Trump and that she doesn't have anything to herself except for, being one of Trump's cucks. But, or in the fact that she's dirt old or dirt old, old as dirt. There we are. I filled in the rest. But I need to see how she does office. She's been in government since 2003. She's been doing federal stuff since 22 years, which is ironic because, again, I'm 2 years over that. That's how young this face is. And that how old this person is. So we're going to take a look. I'm going to look at her house first because I want to look at that. So first, we're going to take a look at sponsored legislation. Why does she only have 2? Oh, I need to hit the show more. Okay, so we are going to look at her house terms. So she was until 19. So anything 19 to 20. Hold on. 19. So she took over maybe? She took in the House. Hold on. What if I hit the 16? What shows up? Senate bills? Okay, so everything 115th. Does it say? Oh, 115th. Okay, there we are. Yeah. Oh, help everything. Okay, so we're going to hit everything from this list, which is going to take me 5 years because for some reason government sites are always crappier than other sites. We're going to look at status of legislation. We're going to look at became laws. Holy crap, she's got 5. Let's go. So 5 of these became laws. Wow, and that was in a time frame of 18 to, was that 15 years? Hold on. 15, 16 years. Wow. She got a law passed every 3 years. How'd it do? 16. That's awful. 16. She got a law passed every 3 years that she wrote. Wow. Okay. To designate the federal building. Oh, God. Oh, that's bad. Sorry for the blasphemy. Sorry, that was blasphemous. I shouldn't have said that. Blasphemous? Wait, blasphemous? Cursing? I did something. Let me put it this way. I shouldn't have said OG. I can't believe she's got Mace's. No. This is unfortunate. Okay. Let me zoom this up for some of y'all. Okay. This is rough. So, in the 115th Congress, designate the federal building and the United States courthouse in Nashville as the Fred D. Thompson Federal Building. That got passed and became a law. Congrats. You did the most effective governments in the entire world. Yay. We look into the 111th. Designate the facility of the United States Postal Service located in Tennessee as another post office renamed. That is top-notch politicking right there. Designate the faculty of the United States Postal Service located in Tennessee. Oh, okay. I'm not looking, but like if the next two are that, I'm just going to like move on. I'm gonna move on to the house. We're not even gonna look at stuff. Oh no. Okay, that's just a weird law. Oh, we have two. Okay, good. We can look at her stuff. So we have the wool fabric. Okay, these are House bills. Yeah, they are supposed to be House bills. Okay, let's look at these House bills. Okay, so those are House bills. And those were who became law. Okay, and two president were still there. Passed both chambers. That's interesting. This did not pass. Resolving differences. But did it pass both chambers? We have 6. That's where it is. Resolving differences. Okay. So, let me throw that away. Okay. So we have 6. Okay. That's sad. Oi. Gosh. Good freege. She's introduced, when she was a representative, she introduced 170 laws. She introduced 170 practically laws, but only 13 of them were considered. No way. Hold on. Where are we? Okay. Community. So these are all here. Introduced the Medicare Drug Improvement Act. She got through the House. We couldn't get to the Senate in the 115th. So that was 17 to 18. Hold on. What was the Senate like during that time? Was that no, the House was split at that point. The House this was actually less, I'm pretty sure. This passed the House. It didn't get to the Senate. So somehow in the Senate it died. Ray Brom's Act. It was passed the House. We have an introduction for the Good Samaritan Health. We got that became law. Federal buildings. Ooh, big whoop. Oh, it had to be considered by the committee. Okay. So let's see. So we have a become the law. We have okay, well, we have this one, don't we? Yes, we do. Do we have this one? Yes, we do. Okay. Veterans identity was introduced. Of course it was. Okay. That's rough. So during her tenure, she only had 117. What is that math? Hold on. I knew my calculator as well. So she passed 13, got into, what was it? 13 got considered by committee. And then floor consideration. Does that change anything? No, past one chamber is 14, so it got to the floor. Okay, so hold on. Let me look at floor consideration. Okay, so let me put it this way. She's got 14 laws. She did about 169. That means about, during her time, she only got 8% of her introduced bills in. So follow through is horrid as a rep. I don't know why people were electing her. And the bills she did pass, what was it? She only passed 2 other bills. What were these bills? Hold on. We need to look at these bills. The Wool Suit Fabric Labeling Fairness and International Standards Conforming Act. Wow, big government there. What's the summary? Specified wool products are misbranded if the average diameter of does not meet certain. Oh, yay! Something completely crap. Yes. Okay, so we got 4 laws that literally are nothing of value. Oh, what about the wool industry? I don't care. Like I do, but not enough. Requires the secretary to submit to specific congressional. Okay, this one may be the only one that actually has something, but at the same time, this is. I'd have to look at some of the different. Okay. These laws suck. All 5 of the laws that passed, they all suck. Born Alive Abortion Survivors Protection Act passed the House. Couldn't get it out. It was 2017 to 2018. Well, hold on. It was introduced in 2017, so 18. Yeah, that may have been the time. No, everything was voted on in 18. That was the Senate. The Senate needed to the Senate was run by the Republicans because I remember when Trump got in, we got everywhere. I'm pretty sure. Let me look at that. Or no, what would it be? Federal government. Federal government? Federal government. Or what is it? I think it would be more like legislative makeup. Okay, we need that's not what I was looking for. We're not finding it. That's right. Okay. But I'm pretty sure that in 2018, when this bill would have been passed, the Senate received it. That's unfortunate. How'd it do? Received in Senate. Motion to reconsider laid to the table. Agreed to without objection. Oh, wait, this is the House. Oh, this is just awful. Okay. Interesting. Did it ever go to the Senate other than that? Nope. Interesting. Unfortunately, okay, so she didn't do that well when she was working as a rep. She got how many bills did she pass again? It was 5 bills. 4 of them were kind of meh. And then the other like 10 or so, 10 of them didn't go away. And then, so, let me just clear all and I'll just hit down from 15 down. So now this is when she was a senator. Now we're looking at when she was a senator. She had 8%. 8% follow through. She's introduced 300. Dang, she increased like almost double. She better became law too, Fred. Do I even want to look at them? Do I even want to see another post office report act? Okay, so 2 out of 300 is just barely a percent. She's barely passed. So she sucks as a follow through. I don't know why she's going to be considered governor. And especially with one of those bills, again, being designating a courthouse into being named something else. What's the Report Act? Hold on, I'll be fair. What's the Report Act? Governing the reporting of crimes involving. Okay, yeah, okay, that's probably good. This is the only thing that she can credit herself with, though. That's how sad this legislation is. That's how sad her political career is. She's got 3 decades on her, and the only thing she was able to pass were I was able to change names of buildings. That's why she has to talk about Trump. Ay, ay, ay. Gosh, 300. That's awful. That's an awful follow through rate. I'm honest. And that's just sponsored legislation. That's stuff she wrote. Let's see what she is on co-sponsor. I forgot what the original meant. I know I said this in the other one. But we'll just do all. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens when she was a senator, since I'm marking those. Became law. Oh, there was 47. Okay, I don't want to go through with that. But what else do I need? Honestly, I'm a bit afraid to look. Okay, so 47 supposedly, and then we have about 108. Okay, But she has to use other people. That's what's unfortunate. That's what I thought I was. I saw walls. I thought that was him. That's awful though. That's an awful presentation right there. Gosh, I'm sad. I thought she would do well. Ugh. I thought she would be better than that. Seems she's not. Such a great valiant warrior she is. She barely passed, what is it, 1% of her laws? Yo. That's unfortunate. What was it again? Hold on. It was what was it? 5 divided by the 170. So she got 3% of her laws into law, and then she got 1%. So she's had a follow through rate of actual abysmal. I don't know how she's elected. She's inefficient. This is where my engineer brain is just crying out for efficiency. For crying out loud, engineering, we always talk about, do machines are efficient? Her efficiency isn't barely a percentage. She's basically dead. Anyways, what are we looking for? I think that's it. Was that it? Oh yeah, we're concluding. Where was the conclusion? Oh yeah, boomer to marketing, right? I'm seeing the chat rolling off though. What is going on over here, book guys? What is chat? What is Twitter doing or Twitch doing tonight? Gosh, where is my okay? Let's start this at the beginning. Let me see what's going on. Okay, day. So seriousness, Mr. Dearly. Your Graham hated feminism. How do I feel about Trump? Like that's all I can say. There's enough. There's always a point that I'm like I don't like, and other like I don't like Trump. I think he needs to be a bit more specific. I also feel it's funny with the H-1B visa thing, because there was the weaponized autism on 4chan going off, and then they had to say that, oh no, actually, it's not actually every time you leave the country and come back in, you have to pay $100,000, which yeah, make my taxes low and make the Indians not. Because primarily most Indians are recipients at H-1B visas. Bloody meat. What am I reading? Trump, yeah. Thatcher, yeah. Trump's old. Fishy. I had no idea he was on into a diaper. That's news to me. Yeah, but he's old. Let me put it this way: he's been old, so I don't know why. Even with Blackburn, it's like she's old. I don't know why we keep pulling these people out. For granted, there were people who were wanting Trump for a third term. Like I know that they were trying to make that as a joke, but like, let's be honest, some MAGA people, that's not a joke. They would literally be like, Trump should do a third term. Like for crying out loud, Trump would be dead, and they would still be wanting Trump because they can't do anything with themselves, and that's kind of the point that MAGA is going to be dead soon. Because if Trump goes, which he potentially looks like he's going through some health stuff. I hope he does okay, but it's like if he goes, I'm weary that the party is just going to lose. The Republican Party is just going to be like killed over because it's either not going to be MAGA enough or it's going to be too MAGA, which would be a problem for a lot of real conservatives. You have kinder eyes. Thank you. Linda, bit off, bit more off, and that's disturbing. Switch 2 had tariffs on it. That's an interesting phenomenon. I didn't hear about that. Well, here's the thing. He put it on a lot of stuff from China, or I guess overseas. So, you know, I get it because in the whole scheme of things, it's necessary. But in just the one thing, that's interesting about it. Switch 2, though. I'm waiting to see the kinks out. Good grief, Linda. What am I reading? Thank you, Thatcher, for stopping. Uh, good grief. Yeah, you should not be trying to make her. What am I looking for? Like, I know the term, but I don't want to say the word because I'm afraid of YouTubing. There's one thing I'm thinking about, but it's like, um, have some control, man or woman, or I Linda's a woman's name, I would imagine, but it's like have some control. Um, what the frick? Sorry, Thatcher. Wait, are you still here? Okay, Thatcher, if you're gone, I don't can see that. That Linda, keep good grief. What is with that? I'm not even gonna show what I'm mentioning for the others. Twitch has been very cooperative today. So thank you all for that and for queuing in. But um Linda, what? Okay, Linda, I'm gonna be serious. Are you please be saying this is a joke or I can't. Well, thank you for yeah, Thatcher. I am sorry. I don't know who these are. So are these Meat and Linda. So Meat, I assume you're not doing horrible things. Okay, thank you, Linda, for yeah, some decorum if you could. Um uh Hello, Gab. I give off mad. I give off mad adism vibes in a good way. You're not the first one to say I have the tism. It's just, yeah, I probably do, but I'm not going to. But that's just me. I'm just me. It's fine. Um, good grief, that's another weird message, Linda. And Kick is telling me to break terms of service again. Okay, so yeah, Linda, keep your pants on, and anything else in relative to that, and yeah, yeah, I'm bloody meat. Thank you for yeah. Um, Graham was a bit of a weird take. I will say that. I was a little confused on what that was on, but you're cool. Okay, we're gonna look at something real quick. Okay, crap. Oops. That was close. Why can't I click off this? There we are. Yeah. I figured that. Graham. Um. Okay. Um. Interesting. Give me 1 second. I need to look at something briefly, and then I'm going to we'll move on to the next section if everyone is ready to move on after the chat dulls. Okay. But yeah. Okay. So chat's clear. So we're gonna move on. So it's 11 o'clock. I don't know how long the test is. How long is this article? Yee. Okay, it's going to be a bit of a read. Let's do the test. Let's do the test instead. Okay. So, oh, hello, Thatcher. Yeah, welcome back to the chat. I'm sorry, the chat. I dealt with Linda briefly. She's still here, but and then Bloody Meat's still here as well. But I think everyone is on a better terms, or at least the better. So, anyways, we are gonna get into. Oh wait, completely forgot to end the closer. What am I doing? So we gotta do the closer, right? Because usually when I do these streams, I usually try and give some conclusionary statement, like what can we learn from Marsha Blackburn besides the fact that she's old. Well, the thing we can learn is based on the marketing that she's been doing. She's doing a lot of boomer marketing, and that's kind of on. I'm actually going to throw away chat for like 20 seconds so I can focus. No offense to the people in chat, just a me thing. Call of Duty reference to Call of Duty problems. I just look at things and I'll see something move and flick to it. That's just a first person shooter problem. But what I think is ironic is that they have to do this marketing, and this marketing is specifically set up to be for the boomers. Now, my question would have to be, why is it always to the boomers? Why do the boomers have a monopoly over how ads are made, how you are marketed as a candidate? Why would these PR groups be saying, well, you need to bring in Trump because, the MAGA people, which consists of a bunch of older people, you got to mention Trump because if you don't, then they're not going to trust you. And the reason that they have to do that, unfortunately, is because of a fact that younger people suck at voting. Let's be fair. Younger people, and I'm not even saying young as in my age, I'm meaning people twice my age don't even vote either. The Pew study did a stats, and it was about a third of people vote all the time, a third of people don't, and then the other third decide to opt out every now and then, which is ironic because if you think one election is important, they're all important. And don't give me this bull crap over, well, my one vote doesn't matter, because you know who's saying that? About 1,000 other versions of yourself. Your 1,000 votes would matter. So, and that's really a problem with this generation, is that we don't prioritize the system. Like currently in Oklahoma, we're having a state question 8:36. And I did a video about it, talking about before I did a stream. Good grief. Oh, good lord. I have to sneeze, but I can't at the same time. I talked about this state question. The reason I talked about it is because it's going to open up potentially, if it's voted on by the voters, but a signature collection is going on now, is it will create open primaries. And the thing about an open primary is we have to worry about. Oh, okay. We have to worry about voters. And the thing is that a lot of Republicans in Oklahoma don't vote. I did the math of the 2024 election, and only about 25% on average of a state house primary that went on voted in the election, which is really sad math. And I don't even do the voting age population because that's how a lot of people are doing the turnout and how Oklahoma's low. And part of that is Oklahoma is lazy to vote. And this is why they're trying to increase the turnout. But the problem is the turnout, you don't have to make a new primary system because the general is basically the primary. Or at least what they're trying to do, because they're going to pull all the candidates into one ballot. That's what we do in the general. The only difference is that there's one per party, not 5 per party. Now, the problem here is that if you want to increase voter turnout rate, there's a simple solution. It's called voting. And the only way to increase voter turnout is to point at the individuals, which, yes, people you watching, is for you to vote, to actually give a crap about the system. And for the younger people, you may not think the politics cares. No, it does. And that's what a lot of the older people, I think, were realizing. And that's why there's this sudden increase of these boomers who are deciding, well, I should run for office because we need to take back our country, even though they decided to live their lives for 2 decades more than you because, well, sucks to be you. I was born and handed a greater generation. So, oh God, great. I have no idea why my nose is itchy, but so, and that's honestly the sad fact is that younger people are going to have to drive out the vote. And I know it's going to take Tuesday because here's the thing: boomers don't have to do anything Tuesday. You know what they do? Bingo night at their nursing home, because it's not like their kids are going to take them in because they basically diss their kids. So they're voting, but they think, oh well, I'm voting for a Republican, and the incumbent, and that's what she's banking on. She's banking on her name, like Blackburn, just like McCall. He's banking on his name and the fact of what he was, not necessarily of what he believes. And the only way that's going to change is if the youth decide to step up and vote. Now, the youth are rapidly gaining ground because the boomers are going down in numbers, and the numbers of Zers, who can vote is increasing. We can take a younger government into power. We just need to vote, which sounds so simple until it starts raining. And then you start wearying and going, well, do I really need to go vote? And then you get a sample ballot like I did for what would have been my election in 2024. And I only had 2 things to vote in a primary. For crying loud, I'm the guy that wants to talking crap about everyone should be voting in every election. Even I wanted to skip that primary because there's only 2 things on it. Was it really worth my time? And the answer was yes. Even though I go, why was I here? I still went there. I still voted. And I'd still do it. Even today. Even knowing that there were 2 things on the ballot. I'd still be doing it. Why? Because every election is important. And if anyone ever tells you that it's not, they're trying to deny you your own civic duty, or trying to prevent you from doing your civic duty. And your civic duty needs to be of utmost importance. And if you're not going to do your civic duty, well, then honestly, year 3 of my stuff, I'm thinking of releasing the voting year. And honestly, if you don't want to vote ever, then I'm not going to give you the chance. If you don't care how you're being governed now, then why will you care in a couple of decades? And there's no excuse to be lazy. And well, I'm ill-informed. There is information at your fingertips for everything. Now, politics, there's a little bit of issues. Obviously there are some people that I disagree with. So if you were to take those beliefs, some of that I'm going to look at. But if you're telling me that you're too idiotic to do research, then I got to ask you the question, are you really intelligent enough to cast a ballot? And if you're going to look at me and say I am, then that comes with the responsibility of actually knowing what you believe and why. And so for that, I say that is the end of the closer, is to vote, to participate in the system, make the boomers their last tendril of power end. And that way we can actually prevent abortions from going on. We could actually get sensible laws passed. We can actually go through and actually get tax laws figured out. We don't have to work ourselves to death, because they are wanting to increase the retirement age. Why? Because we live longer. Yeah, the retirement age is so you work a certain point and then you shift off into retirement. That's the whole point of it. But by Gen Zers, we probably aren't going to get it. But we have a chance if we actually take the power back, and that's going to require voting. And even then, because you could say, well, we have a Republican in office. And that's the problem in Oklahoma. Oklahoma thinks, well, he's a Republican. That ain't good enough anymore. It should have never been good enough. What acid are you tripping on? Legitimately. To say, well, he's a Republican, he must be good. That means bully squirt. I could be a Democrat too. I'd be a horrible Democrat if I changed parties. You know why I'd be a horrible Democrat? Because I don't agree with the party. Because I believe in ultra-conservative beliefs. So, okay, now the tism is showing. That's just it. And, what's sad is we have these people in government. We have these people in government who never get challenged. And if you're going to say the most effeminate behavior, which is, well, you're going to get primaried, then you better be willing to step up and primary him, or else you might as well be gay. Because that's how much because that's kind of how much AIDS you got rolling in your body currently, because you're that inept as a man to get at them. So, anyways, so how would I end the conclusion? What's the final thought? Vote in every election, primary some of these people, get them out of office, make sure the youth step up, and let's take back our home. We actually provide valued solutions. So, anyways, that will do the big original idea. Um, that will do the big original idea. Whoa, chat. Okay, I'm gonna look at this, and then we're gonna move on to the thing for Ryan Walters with the teacher qualifications. Then we're gonna do the TLM, and then we'll be done for the night. So let me go through chat real brief once again. Okay, thank you, Thatcher. Some refer to me as very dominant. Okay, Thatcher, got a quick question. Just out of curiosity. Okay, you say you're very dominant. So there's either two camps you're in. I'm somewhat making the joke. But if the two camps you are you, if you're very dominant, does that mean you're the man in the relationship, or considered the man in the relationship with the lesbians? Just out of curiosity. But okay, Okie day, bless you, Theo. You sneezed. Thank you. Okay. Mitt Romney, because I wasn't fond of Obama's skin. Bit racist. 16, you voted for Bernie. Okay. 2020, you voted for Gandhi. Okay, that was a waste, but okay. Because I really like Graduation. And Kamala, because she's pretty. Okay, the skin one is an interesting determination. I usually would say the policies would be some bits of a concern. So I can see why you would say Bernie. I don't really know what Kanye did in 2020, so I'm not gonna. But 24, I don't know why you would say Kamala, because she's pretty. But what am I looking at? Okay. Day. This is okay. Okay, I'm still going through. Okay. Okay, we're at the bottom. Let me see. This. Okay. With all due respect to Meat and Linda, could you please quit the arguments? Just kind of keep if everyone could keep a little bit on stream, that would be precise. Or ask questions, rather not be fighting with each other. So let's see. Bit of a personal question. When I complete myself, I put my Jesus pictures away so he can't see me, but I'm getting tired of doing so. So I'm thinking I'll either get rid of the pictures or just leave them up and let him watch. So, okay. What do you do? So, if completion is what I think you're relating to, completion. That's an interesting for Kamala. So let me answer this question though, before we move on. Um, so I don't know what you mean by like I'm confused on what you mean by what do you do when you bring yourself to completion? Well, first I would have to complete myself, which I am currently single, so there is nothing for me to do. Um, yeah, so let me look at this real brief, the personal question. But yeah, so I don't know, that question was a little weird, but that's fine. So, here's the thing that I'd say is like with what you're saying is that, well, I engage in this behavior, right? You engage in this behavior that deep down, I think may not be the right behavior because you're looking at you because if you are truly wanting to be a good Christian, as you write, then I gotta ask why be a lesbian? Like that's just the next that should be the next question I would say that you would ask yourself is because if you truly want to be a good Christian, then that would mean to be just because you may have the same sex attraction does not necessarily mean that you were supposed to have an act on it. And so with that, um, I'm wondering if you're looking at those pictures and you just there's something in you that is saying this is wrong. And part of that is God, I think, working there. And by that I want to say that there's that like inside, that it's hurting. Uh, I don't know if I want to say that. That sounds like a hippie sentence, but like homosexuality is considered, according to the church, intrinsically disordered, and many Protestants agree with that. It depends on which branch you get to that they'll allow it. Some of the mainline more allow it than the evangelicals. But like, I feel like there's part of you. It's like you want to get rid of the pictures. I wouldn't say that. Um, if it's not necessarily a question over like, is it a question over accepting yourself? Yeah, I think yes, but not in the manner that you're thinking of. And not in the way of saying accepting me as a lesbian, but accepting as a woman that has an inclination to same sex attraction. And so while you may be attracted to a woman more than men, you have this longing that that you're supposed to chaseify yourself because you're a cross at that point. That is a cross that you carry of, well, I have this inclination to do X, but knowing that it's against the commandments and God. And I think that's maybe what you're feeling just a wee bit. And that's why I'm saying when you're looking at it, because I relate to that too. In that it's just like sometimes I've looked at pictures as in like I've looked at because I got Mary in my room, I got Jesus in my room. There's a crucifix over there. It's like sometimes I go like, I kind of am like, am I really living a Christian life? And so, you know, that was just questions I would ask about you or to you necessarily. Like obviously I would say, like to just be blunt, I wouldn't necessarily say that. Like I obviously disagree with homosexuality. I don't think that you should, and that's why I'm saying that you have the specific cross to carry, which is that you are same sex attracted. But just because you are doesn't necessarily mean that you're supposed to incline on it. Usually the argument that I bring up something with that is like using the restroom, right? It's like just because I have to go pee doesn't mean that I just let my bladder go. I usually walk to a toilet, urinal, there's a propertunity to some uh behaviors, right? And so that is where it's the marital act is supposed to be between a man and a woman. Um so I just like I give you that as a food for thought. Um but I would say never, if you're trying to be a Christian, then you definitely should have those Jesus pictures. But You know, I wouldn't be too surprised if you'd have people somewhat like myself who would be like, okay, because you're kind of conflicting in my views. Because if you want to be a true Christian, you wouldn't be a lesbian. But if you want to be a lesbian, then it's kind of hard to be a Christian. And I'd love you to be a Christian. I'd love you to be, you know, Christian. Even more than that, I'd love you to be Catholic. That would be better for me. But I'll take Christian. I'll take that at least as a starting ground. But yeah, I think that would be the best. Like, what do you believe is the best move? The best move is actually one that you didn't write, and what I said, which was just not. And I understand, like, I think you said you have a wife. I don't know in regards of, like, is it wife or like filled out paperwork type wife? Because that's going to require civil authorities. But to do what's true should be very much what you should do. Like, to give an example, many Protestant pastors whose entire livelihood has been on preaching Protestantism, they turn to Catholicism, and at that point, they have no job. Their degrees are kind of meaningless, but they still do it in the sake of truth. And so, I just again give you some food for thought for that. And I think that's really all that I would say. There's many other people that would say stuff like that. I know Joshua Charles. He had a sister. She she didn't transition. Did she transition? She could transition, but she kind of talks about this too because transgenderism is also in the same way. I wrote a tweet about this today about the cross because it was kind of a theological discussion take on Protestantism quickly, but it was in relation to this of, you know, because you do have a cross. I'm gonna admit that you do have a cross, which is that you are same sex attracted, but I will disagree on whether or not you should have acted on it. So just food for thought. I haven't seen what else you've been writing, so I'll look at there. But okay, that's an interesting. Again, you know, like I get you are a lesbian because of that, but that's why I'm saying, you know, just because you have that inclination to a certain um, sex does not necessarily indicate that you were intent. You are intent. You are intentionally designed to be with that sex, if that makes any sense. So, but yeah, you're welcome for the input. Bloody meat, what is it? Didn't Pope Francis say gay people were cool and that people who tried to use the church to get rid of gay people were snakes? Was he wrong? So I don't know what Pope Francis was saying, but church teaching doesn't say to like gay people are cool. By gay people, like gay people is subjective. And by that I mean like there's gay people and then there's celibate people. Or not celibate, chaste people. There's chaste gays. So like an example would be like Milo Yiannopoulos. He's currently straight, but he used to be like he was the gay guy, right? He was the gay conservative. That was what he was known for. And then he converted to Catholicism, and then he stopped being gay because he believed in the church and he believed in the natural law, and in that he divorced his man and he's straight now. I don't know if he's with anyone right now, but you know, but he's chaste. He doesn't enact on his conquests, to say that. But yeah, the thing is that like gay people shouldn't be thrown away in the church. Yes, because the church is a hospital, but there is no doctrinal change that is going to happen to somehow allow homosexuality. That is where the kind of difference is. It's like the church is always going to be against homosexuality because God is. But there, just because you are gay, and this is where the same-sex attraction is. The Catechism actually speaks about this. If it wasn't way over there, I'd probably pull it out. But it basically talks about this, that just because you are same-sex attracted, just because you have this attraction, does not necessarily mean that you are like gay necessarily. Like if you don't enact on it, then it's fine. It's no different than like straight guys when they have an inclination of, well, she's hot, and then they control themselves in order to not, have their way, right? That's kind of in the same way. Um, a gay priest in the church. I don't know who you're talking about, and I don't. Again, gays, as I said, gay's subjective. I don't know which priest you're talking about too. So I'm just saying that. Little bit of Thatcher, just a bit more personal than I would probably prefer. But alter no. Yeah. So I'm a man, so I have no idea, kind of like the and virgin. So I don't know the ongoings. I'm aware of things. Let me put it that way. I'm aware of functionalities necessarily, not necessarily of the stuff. But I don't think there's an issue if you want to shave, or yeah, like it's fine. It's not, it regrows, right? And yeah, it's no different than a beard or something. Like I could technically manscape, but I thought there was something about like, but the hair is usually there to keep my um, soldiers warm. So, but anyways, um, so I want to deal though with the whatchamacallit, the teacher report that I had from Walter. So for those who were, let me move it over to the side real brief. So there was a tweet a couple of days ago. Whoa. Hold on. There's some more. Wait. Hold on. Radical Dan. If I look this up, okay, I'm gonna look up what this is. If I look up this .com, if it's bad, okay, I'm not seeing anything, fortunately, but guys, please say this isn't. If that is something, oh gosh, I'm gonna have to block this list. Good grief. Okay, guys, I asked. I don't have anything in the Twitch thing, I get, but like, please don't be doing like, if this is like an OF like site of something of that caliber, please delete it or something. This is just off. So what if when you're really bloody meat, what if when you are shaving well, arousal's just arousal. Like there's not really anything to stop that. Some of it's just biology. Um like like if you see a pretty woman and you are not doing anything and you are trying your hardest, but um you know you know like you can't really stop that. Part of that is biology, some of it is monkey brain go so yeah, I think the church is fine with that. Now it'd be weird if you were like trying to do something with it, like if you are trying to like do the job with it, then okay, yeah, you're in a problem there. But if it's just I do it and I kind of I feel some things, then that's not the same caliber. That's loud. It's only if you like make it worth something, right? Like seeing a picture of a woman, if you see a picture of a woman and you're like attracted to her, it's like, if something happens, it like if you are looking at a picture of a woman and it's just, like low key, it's not even anything, and you're self adding, then well, then that's where it becomes an issue. Okay, guys, I will please ask you not to be doing like if not necessarily in the chat. I just don't know what this is. So because when I looked up something, it was showing me a lot of oh gosh. Ew. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna have to do something later. You learn new things on Twitch. Yeah, so guys, please don't do anything with that book. Please don't. Because that's something I will not allow on this channel, and thank you for bringing it up to my attention. Radical, what about a picture of a big what do you in relation to what? Like if you see a big muscular man and you are aroused, it's well then like if you're a man, okay, it'd be weird. But if you're a woman, then well, duh. But so long as you aren't like, I don't know, shoving a vibrational tool in you, then you should be fine. Or self lubing or oh gosh. I have no idea what I'm okay, hold on. I got two conversations thrown at me. Well, if you get aroused, I don't know what you again, I'm still confused on what the question is. What happens if you get aroused by a big muscular man? What is that like in like okay, you get aroused by that. That's fine. Like that's okay. Like if you're a man, then it's a problem because then you're attracted to men and so you would have to be chased. But if you're a woman, then that's just biology at that point. Um and I assume Dan is a man's name, but you could also be Danny, so TBD. Oh, good grief. It's literally just like on my news. Um why is it bad if men? Well, because if you're aroused by a big muscular man, then there's same-sex attraction to another sex. Your sex if you're a man. So you'd be same-sex attracted to it, which is not something that you should be imploring on. And that is why you're intentionally, you should be chased in that manner. So. Okay. We're gonna have to. Okay. So anyways, I'm gonna move on. I'm just gonna hold off on that article. Hold on, how old is that? That's about the same age. Okay, I'm gonna hold off on the article. I was hoping to stop at 12, so I think I'm gonna just do the teacher certification and then we'll do it. So so back in the days of last month, Ryan Walters for the Supreme Court. No, it's not Supreme Court. Superintendent. There we are. Superintendent. He was creating a test to kind of get the teachers through the what should we call it? To get some of the Californian teachers to I don't know how to say this. The Californian teachers are trying to and so there's this state. Hold on. I saw that. Okay, is there a way because it was in your chat? Yeah. I am going to to have to add some words to censor. I did not realize that exists. I don't know what. Yeah, I looked briefly at what the thing was, and I didn't click in. I read the description. So, um, yeah, if Linda, I'm gonna be honest, Linda, I'm gonna need you to cool it. And actually, sorry, Linda. Okay, so, uh, sorry, Linda. I can't. Radical Dan, I'm gonna ask you to be respectful as well. Yeah, you're missing long article. You were missing a lot from long ago. So just FYI, that's with the Aaron card. So there was this teacher's test. Oh, I need to switch. Teacher's test done in Oklahoma schools. It was to de-Californianize the You know what? I'm sorry, guys. I can't do that. I can't do that tonight. I was going to, but I'm kind of not in that mood yet. And honestly, I did not expect chat to be as, especially with Twitch, where there's most people watching there. I did not expect that. Twitter, I don't know your number. You might be 6. But yeah, a bit disappointed with the chat. And with all due respect, Radical Dan, nope, because that is the other days. I'm actually gonna just pause tonight. I know there was more, but I don't particularly appreciate that my chat was filled with disgusting material, and I blocked in the restream chat at least Linda, because that was awful stuff that I'm seeing. I don't want that on my channel. So I have no idea what it's like on Twitch. I'll probably have to be working on something, but I'm not comfortable with what has been going on, and my brain's kind of, and yeah, meat. I'm kind of like your comment on the pay me some money. It's I want to deal with that, and I don't want to continue to having that problem. So um yeah, because of the fact that people started abusing the chat, I'm not going to continue until I can fix with that, which I hate to do because I did have stuff planned out. And like Thatcher, we were kind of having an engaging conversation, but it kind of got ruined. So yeah, I mean, it's uncomfortable for me too. Like I was uncomfortable because you were uncomfortable because of the same thing that I was uncomfortable with, but I know that's worse probably for you. So I know you don't need reparations, but I do. I need to repair the chat and fill her out. Now, to be fair, I had no idea that book thing. I have no idea what that is, so I'm not even going to know. Like, there are going to be things I won't be able to write purely because of the fact that I don't know what they are, because I don't have that, kind of perverted mindset. So, anyway, so Radical Dan, no, I'm not playing Fortnite. Meat, thank you for the stream. Yeah, I I hear what you're going through, bro. All right, at least I assume bro. But yeah, I would say you definitely want to have a conversation with someone. There are people who would love to have conversations for you to deal with what potentially could be trauma. I'm not saying that you're damaged goods, but I'm just saying that if you need to talk to people. Thatcher, thank you for the good night. Thank you for listening to me, and I hope that I didn't offend you. That was my goal. I was trying to word it because you were asking a genuine question. Sometimes I'm a little, like I make fun of people a lot of the times, but it's like if you get me genuine, I shut up. I still become a joker though because I am a comedian, but yeah. Yeah, me. It was comfortable. It was uncomfortable for me. So I think I'm seeing a repeat message. Sorry. So yeah, but I need to fix that because I don't want that repeating. Because it messed me up. I can't even go and do the other two things because that's messing me up. And I want to get that out of the way because that was just wrong. The only word I've really blocked was Satan, and I thought that was good enough. I did not realize that there's a lot more filth than just that. So, anyways, yeah, Thatcher, please come back. Monday, every day, every weekday except for Tuesday. I am streaming at 9 p.m. Central. Gaming for 3 days. I'll be gaming tomorrow to finish up Lego Batman. So yeah, come back tomorrow if you want. These people are nasty, Dan. Yeah, I know. Yeah. Okay, thank you, Thatcher, for no offense taken. Your wife would probably have an offense taken, which reasonably so. I'm not gonna exactly be denying that. But yeah, I am sorry, Dan. I have no idea what is going on. Meet. Yeah, have a good night. So everyone in chat, everyone who's watching, thank you for watching as I do a takedown on Marsha Blackburn. I'm sorry about what happened at the end. I'm going to remedy it like after we do this. But yeah, I'm gonna say goodnight. If you could do the the typical YouTuber stuff, if you can do all the likes, follows, subs, and whatnot, that would help me out. And yeah, I think that'll do me for tonight. So yeah, Thatcher, please don't. It's not something you should. Thatcher, please don't. Please, like, I legitimately mean it. Don't. I looked at the description, and that was enough for me to go, hell no. Especially, let me say this, Thatcher. If you are serious about being a true Christian, you should not be watching that type of content, or whatever it was related over. Just saying that. Thank you, Dan, for the encouragement. But yeah, yeah, Thatcher, please do not. Please do not. And I mean that. Please don't. Anyone who is curious on whatever is talking, because I know there's a few people on YouTube and Kick. Yeah, I'm seeing the Twitch chat. Do not go to the Twitch chat. I had to remove someone. So, yeah. So, anyways, I'm gonna end it tonight. So, anyways, have a good night, y'all. I will see you tomorrow. Next week is TBD. Sorry, I got to do a quick maintenance thing. TBD. Next week is kind of subjective. I will be here for Thursday Thursday and Friday, mainly because of the fact that I have a retreat. Because of that, I'm going to have Monday and Wednesday be gaming, I assumed. I don't know of what yet. I think Wednesday is Destiny, and I don't think I'm doing anything Thursday. I might be doing it, TBD. It all depend this weekend. I have no idea what's going on. I've got a retreat this weekend, so I got to deal with that. And that's a Thursday till Sunday thing. So anyway, so I'll be gone. If you can hit me up on the YouTube, you'll know what streams are going on. Twitch, I'm still having a hard time figuring out of how to like situate things. So anyways, have a good night, y'all.